just noticed some shadowing across my page. It's a lovely sunny day out there, but it's causing shadows. So I'm just going to draw my curtains. Before I start, I just want to say a bit of a disclaimer. This is my channel, so what you see is my point of view, my opinion and my faith with using my Bible journaling. You might not agree, and that's okay. But it was just to put it out there as a disclaimer and just to say this is what I'm doing and I'm going to keep doing it because for my love for the Lord and my faith, and it's my way of being able to share it with others. So if you want to stick around and enjoy, please do, and I'd love you to join me and watch if you're interested. So thank you very much for joining me. I seem to be lagging behind on my other device, so do say hello if you're joining my broadcast. It's always nice to I can see Sheila. Hi Sheila. Hey Sheila, I'm glad you could join me live today. Quite often you miss me, so hi there. Welcome. Okay, let's get stuck in. So I'll just do a quick overview of what Bible I use. I know some of you are new to Bible journaling. I went for a Bible which has got a blank side section to it. Now with Bible journaling, it's up to you what you do. Some people will cover their whole page with journaling. I personally like to do a bit on the side and then highlight verses that I am concentrating on. If you want to see these previous ones that I've done, I have got a playlist of my Bible journals and how I prepare the page. So I've gone through all that before, so please do check that out. The version I'm using it happens to be a New International Version. It's up to you, obviously what preference you use, but I'm using this because this is the one that I found with the blank pages to the side. Right, sorry, bear with me while I just fix my other device. I can't see the picture very well and it's a bit blurry. So if you are coming up blurry on the screen, you can have a little play with the settings and it should give you a clearer picture if you just change the settings. That's good. Okay, for some reason I'm not seeing comments on my other device, but there you go. So today's passage is going to be from Ephesians, and I spoke before my last journal about using the word peace. Now I wanted a word for the year, and I didn't know what that word was going to be, but there was the verse of the day app, or the Bible app came up with a verse of the day about going in peace. And then I was reading through Ephesians at the time, and there's a passage about peace in there. So I thought, right, I'm going to have that for my word of the year. And what more appropriate word than peace? So good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I'm just going to read this small section here, and it's about Jews and Gentiles being reconciled through Christ. And it's not just about peace, but it's about unity. And because of Jesus dying on the cross, they're now being the opportunity open to all to be able to come to know Jesus through his death on the cross. Good morning, Gail. So this is Ephesians chapter 2. I'm going to read from verse 11 to 20 and then we're going to start journaling. So therefore remember that formerly you who are Gentiles by birth and called uncircumcised by those who call themselves the circumcision which is done in the body by human hands. Remember at that time you were separate from Christ, excluded from citizenship in Israel and foreigners to the covenants of the promise, without hope and without God in the world. But now in Christ Jesus, you who were once far away have been brought near by the blood of Christ. For he himself is our peace, who has made the two groups one, the two groups being Jews and Gentiles, and has destroyed the barrier, the dividing wall of hostility, by setting aside his flesh, the law with its commands and regulations. His purpose was to create in himself one new humanity out of the two, thus making peace, and in one body to reconcile both of them to God through the cross, by which he put to death their hostility. He came and preached peace to you who were far away, and peace to those who were near, for through him we both have access to the Father by one Spirit. Consequently, you are no longer foreigners and strangers, but fellow citizens with God's people, and also members of his household, built on the foundation of the apostles and prophets, with Christ Jesus himself as the chief cornerstone, in whom the whole building is joined together and rises to become a holy temple in the Lord. And in him you two are being built together to become a dwelling in which God lives by his Spirit. Now, it's a little bit tricky taking verses out of context, but it was just to give you hopefully some context. I know it's a bit tricky to understand also if you're taking a passage out, but let me encourage you to read the Bible for yourself. Now, if you are new to the Bible, then I would say turn to one of the Gospels. Mark or John is a good place to start. So this idea of peace, I wanted a big word, peace, and I envisaged the word peace to have flowers around it and just to have like a peaceful setting. So I've chosen for my stamp set today, under my umbrella, believe it or not, 4 these little flowers. Now, I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator, so I get to sell and use these stamp sets. I've prepared my page with gesso, which just gives it a tooth and a surface to be able to stamp on without things seeping through. Somewhere, here we go. So this time I'm going to be using the Stays On ink. Oh, it's no good. Why am I not getting... Oh, there you go. I've got the live chat up. Using the Stays On ink so that hopefully I won't do any smudges today. So I wanted to take the verse for he himself is our peace. So I'm going to start off with the word peace. I'm trying to position my Bible because the other side is quite top heavy. I've learnt from my mistakes. So I'm going to use the flowers to create, yes, clear gesso, wonder. I'm going to use the flowers to create the word peace. Now, I might actually, here's my sneak peek. Oh, it smells amazing. I love the smell of Stays On. Just to give me a rough idea of where I need to do my first bit of stamping. Now, Stays On ink does... Oh, I've got to be careful because this is a bit new and juicy. It does stain your inks, so you do need to clean it off with special Stays On cleaner afterwards. So I think this is the only time I'm going to use this. Let me just quickly grab my cleaner because it ends up with your stamps being a bit sticky. So it comes in a bottle like this with a little scrubby thing at the top, and you can just dab that on and clean it. Just going to stamp it off to the side to make sure that just doesn't stain. Okay. So that's going to be... I might as well write it as I go. So I'm using this is just an EK Tools pen. And I wanted to join the letters up, and we're going to make the word peace. So the next flower I'm going to use is this. Is it this one? No. Was it this one? Which one was it? Oh yeah, I did it this way. Just wondering if this way would be better actually. So the good thing about doing a scrap piece first is you can change it as you go, basically. Okay. I'm going to go up a little bit. Now we're going to use this stamp again, so I'm going to leave that one out. I needed to ink that up a little bit more, but that's okay. I can always go over my letters afterwards, so I'm just going to get the groundwork down, as it were. I use this one for the letter A. Make sure I ink it up a bit better this time. Oops, let me clean that one. Good morning, everybody. This is Esther. I'm Ruth's sister. I think some of you are getting a little bit confused. But good morning. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know what time it is where you are, especially if you're coming in from around the world. Don't worry, don't worry. Sometimes I find it strange that we're muddled up, but you know, I suppose it's. So this is my stays on cleaner that I'm just adding because it sticks to the stamp otherwise. PEAC. So the reason I use this pen is it is archival ink, so that it won't fade over time. And I've got a cheat sheet underneath just to help me. Actually, I'm not even underneath the next page. I'm doing it through 2 pages then. To help me just position where I want to put things. And this is a great tip if you are a bit scared to know where to place your stamping on your page, or you're a bit unsure about your design. Okay, so hopefully I can sort those things out in a second. Okay, now that I've laid down the groundwork, excuse me, I'm going to just add a bit more depth to the lettering. Not too much, but maybe concentrating down one side. This is where I end up smudging, so I've got to be careful that I don't smudge. So sorry if I'm not talking much. As you can tell, I'm just trying to concentrate on what I'm doing. Now I could go over those flowers, but I'm not going to kind of leave it like that. Yeah, this is quite fun to do. I've not really done this before like this, but it's quite a fun way of using the stamps. And then I'm going to write, put my finger over everything, for he himself is our, and I'm going to be brave and just write it straight in the Bible. For he himself is our for. For he himself is our peace. Verse 14. Okay. Now, I think I'm going to keep this fairly simple. I could maybe add flowers around the sides, but let's just see how we get on. I'm tempted to do maybe the reference. So Ephesians 2:14. So Ephesians 2:14 there, and then I'm going to put the date on this side, which happens to be the 1st of the 3rd, 21. So some of my Bible journals are much more covered in colour. Some of them are simple, but not many. And they adapt as they go along. So I think of an idea and then it gets adapted a bit more. So gorgeous grapes and some nice kind of bright, cheery colours. So I've got here the Stampin' Up watercolour pencils. I've got gorgeous grape, calypso coral, flirty flamingo. So we're going to do some nice purples and pinks, and then we'll need a green. I think Granny Apple has to be the green of choice. Nice bright green for the leaves. I can zoom you in a bit more for the colouring in. Okay. So I'm going to lay down the colour fairly thickly. Because I want this to come through nice and bold. And then I'm going to go over the colour with what's called a blender pen, and this just helps to blend those watercolour colours in without using water. Welcome. Ellie says, I really enjoyed the first year of Esther's Bible journaling. It fascinates me. I've never seen it before. Paula says, thank you, Ellie. I get hooked watching these crafting videos. I'm a stamper and also love my Bible, so this is great. Fantastic. So if you notice, I'm just colouring the outside petals, because with watercolours you can spread the colour and merge it. I was going to resist colouring it in, but I can't. I want to see what it looks like. So that just helps to blend those colours together. Oh, I don't know why I didn't use Stays On before. So if you're using any kind of liquid or watercolour, Stays On is your friend. So I might come back in with a bit more pink. Oops. I think I need to get a new set of blends on the go. Wow, look at that. That's really activated that colour. Okay. Oh, you've got an older set of watercolours, have you? That's great. Yeah, they're nice to use, very soft and smooth. So if you're wondering who I'm talking to, I'm live at the moment, but if you want to see the live chat, it usually gets loaded afterwards onto the video. I am tempted to do more. I'm not very good at leaving things as they are. Oh dear. So Bible journaling is a nice way to be able to meditate on God's word, especially if you feel that you've read it and there's a particular passage or verse, or maybe you've heard a sermon that's particularly spoken to you. It's nice just to dwell on it by doing a journal, and it's a nice reminder to go back on it, to look back on what you might have learnt or heard about. My aim was to try and do one once a month. That was the aim. I managed last year, but I've definitely slipped this year. And I suddenly realised we're into March, just into March. And I was meant to do this in February. So here I am. Ellie says she always talks to herself when crafting. Thank you, Sheila. Sheila says, very nicely done. There you go. That was nice and simple and easy. So now I'd like to highlight maybe this lettering at the top. For he himself is our peace. So I'm going to go over roughly in my pink pencil. And then I quite fancy some some grass over here, but I'm wondering whether just to... Okay, not quite the look I was going for, but I wanted something a bit thinner. I've learned just to go for it. Don't hold back, just do it. Otherwise it won't get done. Whoa, a bit smudgy, a bit brown. What am I using to colour the pencils with? So these are called blender pens, and these are by Stampin' Up as well. And it's basically invisible ink. Now I've marked mine up because they come in a set of 3 and they're dual-ended. But I like to mark mine so that I don't have to keep wiping off the colour to use again. You couldn't see me wiping off just then. So if you see, there is a bit of pink still left on here, but if I keep wiping it, it will turn the colour to almost like an invisible ink, and I can reuse it on a different colour. But I tend to try and like to have set colours for each pen, so I don't have to keep changing it over. So this is great to use with watercolour pencils because you're in a lot more control than you would if it was water. And I'm just trying to think if you can... I did have some donkeys lying around somewhere that I use them with. So yeah, it's just a great way of being able to blend watercolour pencils basically. Not just on this sort of surface, but any other surface. So I'm fancying maybe a little dragonfly or that kind of thing in my picture. So I'm going to pull out this other stamp set, Dragonfly Garden. I'm going to use these sort of... those look like. So I don't want all of them in such a big group, so I'm going to try and carefully stamp a few. Now these are very fine lined stamps, so try my best to... You could lay down tape and do this, but I'm just going to eyeball it, give it a thanks to it. Okay, I was reading your comment, thank you, and then I said the word thanks. Oh yeah, that's good. And then we'll do, I might mask off this next bit. Just going to take a swig of coffee. If you're not colouring, use your black marker. Did you mean the... Right, I'm going to do this little guy over here. I'm just going to cover the rest of this up. Sorry, Sheila, I didn't quite understand your message. I'm going to cover these guys up because I don't want that stamped, but I just want this little fella over here. Lovely. Okay. I think we'll colour these in. Just put some cleaner on that. I'm a bit paranoid that my my stamps will get stained with the stain on. Okay, so let's use a few of our existing colours. And the good thing about the watercolours is they do blend together as well. I do want a hint of green. Oh yeah, I do love the blender pens. I use them quite a bit. Oh, smudged. Because I tend to use watercolouring in my Bible. So, you know what this needs is some splatters or something. I think what we could do is we could add excuse me, a few dots to our insects, give them a bit of movement. Maybe put a couple of little lines by their wings. I quite like the simplicity of this journal page. I don't think I'm going to add too much more to it, she says, thinking about it. I might just add a bit of groundwork to the piece bit. And I like to highlight the verse, so what colour should we do? Should we go green again? So for he himself is our peace. I could highlight the words, couldn't I? I'm sure there's another one somewhere. I mean, there are so many verses that you can highlight in this passage, really, but I've gone for peace today. Paula says, such a lovely saying during these strange times we are in. It's so true if we let him be our peace. Yeah, There you go. And then what I like to do is at the back of my journal, which I forgot to do last time and I've just done it today, is I like to make a record of what I've done, when I've done it, and what it is. So today's date, 01/03/21, page 1321, Ephesians. One 14. We've talked about peace. So it's a nice record of quick guide to what I've done when. So thank you so much for joining me. It's quite nice to do these lives rather than pre-recorded, because then it, well, I don't know, just prefer it. It's easier. It makes me get on and do it as well. And I can talk you through the process. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have peace in your day today. And thank you so much for those joining me live, and for giving me a thumbs up. If you want to leave a comment afterwards, I will be grateful. And if you're not already subscribing to my channel, please do consider subscribing. I usually do paper crafts and stamping, so you can join me to watch other videos like that. So take care. I'll turn the camera around to do a quick bye-bye and hello. Thank you so much for joining me. And I'll be back tomorrow here on YouTube at 9 o'clock GMT. And I'm on, excuse me, Facebook at 2 o'clock tomorrow as well. Same channel name, Stampin Star Creations. Hope you have a wonderful day. Take care and God bless. Bye.